my name is Jana Palm, and I run this project called Stugan. I've been doing that from the very beginning. We started in 2014, so it's been 4 years now. But I also work in an incubator in Stockholm, in Sweden. I help them build a games incubator. So we now have a games incubator in Stockholm. We have right now 2 companies there, and we're looking for more. So that's also a fun project. And then I also I'm an advisor of a VR company in Stockholm called Survive, and I try to help them as much as I can. And I often one thing that I really like is that I'm invited to be a member of different juries in different games awards, game competition, and that's a great way for me to get my hands on as many games as possible and try new things and play a lot of games. So what is Stugan? How many of you know what Stugan is? Have you heard of it? Good, then that means that I'm needed here. It's good. So yes, it's a Swedish non-profit accelerator. I'm going to talk a little bit more about what that means a little bit later. The whole idea is for people in the games industry who've been working with games for many years to give back and help new talents get in the industry as well and give them new opportunities. Every year we run only during the summer because we in Sweden right now you probably don't really want to be there. We have like -15 and a lot of snow, and it's quite dark, so it's really much better to come there in summer. And even in summer the weather can be kind of like it's today. I think Marta can testify that. Yeah, so we run every year during the summer for 2 months, and we have every time approximately 20 to 25 participants. So yeah, approximately 20 to 25 people from all over the world. We really try to have good diversity there, where we go through the applications and have diverse teams. Also, one thing that makes us a little bit unique is that we run Stugan in the middle of nowhere, kind of in the middle of the forest in Sweden. And an important part of the project is that we bring mentors to Stugan, and they help our participants with their games, with different stuff. So this kind of is the image that we had in our minds when we first started thinking about the concept of Stugan. Stugan means the cabin in Swedish. So this is kind of the idea, to have this is a typically Swedish red wooden cottage with the white frames. That's very important for some reason. And basically we wanted to have this isolated place with a lake and a forest and basically nothing but just the 25 developers there for the 2 months. And I think that's very important because I'm a big fan of contrasts. So it's really awesome when you're in a big busy city and then all of a sudden you just go back to the nature, and it gives you focus and gives you inspiration and tranquility as well. You really can focus fully on one thing. So this is the idea we had, and then we just asked a very talented young pixel artist who made this picture for us, and that became our logo and the main image of Stugan. So when we were choosing the name of the project, Stugan, we felt that the name is very important. No matter what you do, if it's a game, if it's a company, a project, the name is very important because that's what people remember, that's what people use, and we always felt that it's very important that the name is it sounds a bit exotic, so it's a Swedish word, but at the same time it's easy to pronounce and it's easy to remember. And so we thought Stugan is quite easy to pronounce, but then the first year when we were getting the applications, And people were saying, oh yeah, I would like to be a part of Stugan. And they tried to pronounce the word Stugan, and we got very different variations of the word, which was quite fun. But I think now people kind of know that it's called Stugan. Also, the name Stugan was the name of the first Swedish commercial computer game made back in the 70s. It was a text-based adventure game released in the 1973, and it was made by 3 kids. They were like 13 years old, and one of them is now a professor at the Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm. And we talked to him about our project, and he loved the idea, and he was okay with us using the name. And he even came to Stugan as a mentor the first year, so that was a nice thing. So I said, we are a non-profit games accelerator. That means that we are non-commercially driven. That means we don't take any part of the games that people create. They spend the 2 months with us without any further commitments. So they just we help them during that time, and then they just go, and we don't take any part of that. That really allows us to bring in projects that are very creative, that are cutting the edge in some way, as indie games can be. Very creative, and we really don't need to care so much about the commercial potential there. If the game is going to become a huge hit or not, we don't really need to care about that when we take the project in. However, that doesn't mean that the game doesn't become successful. Often games are like that. It's very hard to predict in the early stage if the game is going to be popular or not. For example, when you look at Minecraft, one example for all, when Notch, the developer, showed Minecraft in an early stage to publishers and investors. Nobody thought, like, this looks ugly, this is never gonna fly, and it did. So it's very hard to predict hits. And the idea is to bridge the gap between a creative idea and the games industry, because people often have a lot of ideas, a lot of creative ideas, great games, but it's very hard to get through the noise, because there are so many games being released every day, and it's very hard to find your audience and people who play your game, because why would they choose your game out of the other hundreds of games that are new? So at Stugan we try to help with that a little bit, because we have built the name for Stugan. So now by being at Stugan you already have a few followers that follow you by default, because people follow Stugan. So that really expands your network, plus interactions with the mentors and some publicities. So yeah, when we were building and thinking about the concept, we looked at other programs that are a bit similar to Stugan. There was many incubators and accelerators that work with games in the world, and we looked at them, and then we thought how we want to do Stugan, because the traditional incubators and accelerators, they get their money by most of the time by taking a part of the games, taking equity in the companies. And we didn't want to do that, because in our opinion that creates a few problems. So first of all, people already have to have a company when they apply to these programs. While at Stugan we don't care about that, we care about the games. So when you come to Stugan you don't need to have a company, you just need to have a great game. When you apply to a traditional incubator, you are giving up a part of your company. You're making some commitment to the incubator even before they actually help you. So you need to sign up before you actually get some help in return. And we thought we want to skip that. And also the focus becomes very much on the economy and how to create the most successful game, how to create the game that most people like and play. And as I already said, it's very hard to predict hits. So that's why we kind of decided to just skip all this and and really focus on what is important to us and what we really wanted to do is just to focus on the joy of creativity and the great games and great indie teams. So how do we finance this if we don't take part of the companies? As I already mentioned, the whole idea is very much about giving back. So this is the picture from a fundraising dinner that we host every year, and we invite individuals from the games industry, and we tell them about the concept, and we tell them about how the previous teams are doing and what's happening, and many of them really like this program, so they've been giving us money, sponsoring us. Some have been our faithful sponsors from the very beginning, so they've been sponsoring every year, and some new as well. And also an important part is that we want, from the very beginning, we wanted to create the buzz about Stugan, so that people from all over the world would apply and would know about Stugan, which is great for the project, which means it's great for the participants. When you go to Stugan, we try to build a community around this project. And this community is growing every year significantly, because we have every year 25 participants, which means every year there is 25 new great ambassadors that go around the world, and they tell people about Stugan and that they should apply, which is a great thing. One thing that I've been thinking a lot myself about, because living in Sweden has a very successful games industry that's been growing in the past years extremely. There is big games. One of the biggest games in the world come from Sweden, like Candy Crush, already mentioned, Minecraft, Battlefield, and many other games. Being in Sweden kind of makes you think that that's where you want to be, that's where the magic happens right now. But I think that that's not really true, or not necessarily true. I think you can make great games no matter where in the world you are. You just need to have a computer, have an internet, and just your skills, and you can make a game that reaches out to the whole world. Like, for example, Flappy Bird and Kingdom Rush, who are games that everybody's played, and they were developed in countries that don't have the most successful games industry in the world, like Vietnam and Uruguay. But the important thing, I think, is that you have to think globally from the very beginning. Just don't think about your home market, but think about what the world is going to think about your game, how you can reach the global audience with your game. So often indie game developers sit home alone, and they work on their games, and they often struggle because it's hard to be alone. I know that myself. I often work on my own, so it's hard to keep focus and really see the bigger picture, not just focus on something that you have to do right now. It's hard. It's quite easy to lose perspective. So on the contrast, in Stugan, you're never alone, literally never, because we have the 25 participants for 2 months together, and they spend every day together. They sleep with cabins together, they eat together, they work side by side together, so you are almost never alone. Which I think is great, because it gives you it creates a great community, and people really inspire each other, which I think is an important part of Stugan, actually, the whole community spirit. I don't know if you know this movie, The Cabin in the Woods. That's basically a scary movie, a horror movie about a bunch of young people going to a cabin in the woods in the middle of the forest, and scary things start to happen. So when we organized Stugan, I had this image in my head the night before we invited all the participants, because I could imagine a million things that could go wrong during the 2 months with people from all over the world together. Yeah, we never really had any scary incident. I'm very happy. But this actually has become like a Stugan movie. I think every year people watch it. I don't know if we watched it this year, but people at least talked about it. But the years before, everybody, it was a mandatory thing to watch. Yeah, so when people are at Stugan, they spend the 2 months there together, and they bring a game that they want to work on, and that's basically all they have to do. They just need to focus on the game, because they don't need to pay for the whole thing. That's free for them. We even cook food for them, so they really don't need to worry about those things. They just need to worry about the game development. And we don't really. At first, I thought it might be tricky to help them find motivation, but that actually was never a problem, because people see other people working, and they see how they're focused and how they're progressing, so that actually keeps them motivated and helps them stick to the task. We don't have any office hours. We don't tell people you have to go and work from 9 to 6. They're free to work anytime they want. Some people like to work in the morning and then take a break and then continue. Some people like to sleep longer and then work late hours. So that's really up to the participants where they want to work. The important thing is to know that they're there to work on the games, not to have a paid vacation. Even though the fun part is very important as well, and we always encourage people to find a good balance between work and fun, because you're here in this beautiful location, so you might as well use that and do fun stuff together. Also, an important part with game development is there is always somebody who is eager to play your game. So when you do some progress, there's always 5 people who are eager to play the game, and that's very important, because often what I've seen is that often people are scared to show the game when they're not happy with it. They're not there yet, it's not finished, so they're very self-conscious about showing their game. And I think Stugan has helped at least a few of them to overcome this fear and actually show your baby in an early stage, and make other people play it and give you feedback and let you know what you think, because it's not really, there's no point working on something, spending time on something that nobody's going to like in the end. So it's better to learn this early on. If something doesn't work, something should be changed, than later. We actually had at least one team that I can remember now, that they got a lot of feedback from the mentors, and they got really depressed because it was very bad feedback they got. So for 2 days, nobody talked to them, and then they just changed the concept like completely. They really changed the whole game mechanic, and basically took a huge step back. But it actually was a good thing they did, because the game got much better, and everybody really liked it much more. So sometimes you really need to do that, actually. We usually it wasn't so popular this year, because we try not to force people to do things. They should do things that they want to do, and that they feel like that's helping and bringing something. But what I try to encourage people to do is to have so-called Friday sessions, which is that every Friday 3 teams meet, or everybody meets, but 3 teams present their game. They get 20 to 30 minutes to talk about their game and what they've been working on and how is it going. And then the rest of the people, they give feedback and they offer some help, and they say, like, I can help you, show you how to fix this, or how to do this better. which is a great thing because the team spirit there is very important. The peer-to-peer help. People have very different skill sets and different experience. So that's something that we encourage a lot too. Even though you have your own game you work on, we kind of like that the teams help each other. And that's something that happens very organically. People are very friendly and happy to help. Yeah, connected to what I just said is that they often feel like they know something that the other people don't, so they say like, okay, I'm gonna come today at 5 to the main office and I'll show you how to do this in Unity, and then everybody just comes. And so they hold spontaneous workshops, and it's a lot of fun because they really get a lot out of interacting with each other. And it's a great thing for the future as well, because now everybody is there in Stugan, but then in 10 years people might be in different job roles, different parts of the world. So, and then randomly you might meet again. So it's a great thing for the future as well. And then we have the mentor sessions. We invite mentors, and then they come to Stugan and they spend some time there talking to the teams, and that's very important for the participants as well. I'm gonna go back to the mentors in a second. And then in the end of Stugan we have a demo day, so we bring everybody back to Stockholm, and there they show their game. We invite the public, everybody who wants to try the games is welcome to come, and we have a fun event with all the games showing there. So that's kind of something that people have like their goal to the end of the Stugan. They want to have something as good as possible so they can show it to everybody what they've been working on. Yes, we invite mentors to Stugan, and that's an important part. They typically spend 1 to 3 days at Stugan, and usually they open with a presentation that can be helpful to everybody, and then they spend more time talking one-on-one to the teams. So that's very helpful and appreciated by the teams, that they get this time one-on-one with somebody they've heard of and they admire. So we've had mentors like Rami, he's a big fan of Stugan, and we always try to have more female mentors as well, because diversity is a big thing at Stugan. It's hard, unfortunately. I would like to have many more female mentors, but we try at least. And also, an important thing is that we video document the whole program. So every year we have a video person on location with us, and they make videos. So they make videos about the progress of what's happening at Stugan, and every team gets their spotlight video of just one video focusing just on the team and the game. And all the videos are on our YouTube channel, so you can look there. You can go and see what life at Stugan looks a little bit like. And then also last year we had 2 independent game or filmmakers who are actually sitting there now and editing a film about Stugan that they want to release sometime soon. They've already been some footage on Twitter, and it looks awesome. So I really look forward to that. It should be like 90-minute, proper movie about Stugan. So yeah, just to summarize a little bit the community spirit. I think that's a very typical for Stugan, but that can be created anywhere. I think there is in many parts of the world. I've seen co-working spaces just for games, and that's something that could work there quite well as well. It really, if you can afford it, and if you have the opportunity to sit somewhere together with other game developers, I think that's a great opportunity, because you get to really helps you with your focus and finding your motivation. It helps you because you always have somebody to bounce ideas with, get some feedback, and immediate reaction from them. And also it's a great access to knowledge, because everybody knows something different, something that you don't, and then you know something that many people don't know. So it's everybody has something to contribute with. when we go through the applications, we really try to have people with different skill sets and different experience. We have people who just finished their studies together with people who've been in the industry for many years and have released a game or two. We even have people who don't come from the games industry. To begin with, we had people who worked with films before. So like last year we had a guy who worked with films, and while at Stugan he was collecting awards for his last film, and now he's working on a cool game that's already collecting awards as well. So that's a nice thing. Here I just wanted to mention some games that have been at Stugan before. Maybe you know some of them. I just recently made some statistics. So we've done 3 batches of Stugan so far, and we had 71 people in total in 43 different teams, and each team works on a different game. And they came from 23 different countries, so really like spread all over the world. And so far 9 games are released. Because when the teams come to Stugan, they're at different stage of development, and they don't need to finish the game at Stugan. So some people just started, some people are almost already finished. That really is not important to us. But we of course like when the games do get released and they do well. Here you can see almost every game got a feature. The most recent game, Dandara, from very talented Brazilian team that was at Stugan last year. They released a few weeks ago on the Switch and mobile as well, and they got a global feature there as well. So that makes us very happy, and we're very proud of them. Some Spanish Stuganeers, because we're in Spain now, and I would like to encourage all of you to apply. Last year we had Tahu Studios, Marta, who you already know, she's been just talking before me. And they're working on a game called Idearum, and that's a very cool concept and a cool team. I personally like that it's an all-female team. It's 4, are you 4? 4 girls, also from all over the world, which is fun. And then the first year we had Nacho. Nacho, he lives in Madrid. I don't know if anybody knows him, but he works on a mobile game called Cerulean Moon, which he's been working on since Stugan, and he's not finished yet, but he's still working on it. So we're hoping that that game is going to see the light of the day one day, because it's very promising, and he already had scored some award nominations for that game as well. So that would be very nice if he finishes it. So if you want to be a part of Stugan, all you have to do is that you have to send us an application. We now have opened the call for application for this summer, and you have to send us a video. That's the most important thing. So it's a 90-second long video where you need to present your team and the game that you work on. And we want teams, small teams, 1 to 3 people. The teams can be bigger, but the important thing is there that maximum of 3 people at a time at Stugan, so you can swap places if you're more, or just some people stay home. An important thing is that it's a core part of the team that's at Stugan, so it's not like a team of 20 people and then they send like a artist to Stugan and the rest of the team is somewhere else. We want the core team at Stugan. And the video is something that, because people often ask me like, so do you have any tips for how to apply and what's the most important thing? So I would say pay good attention to the video, because that's something that when we receive a lot of applications, that's something that if you have something that sticks out and we remember that always helps. If you catch our attention immediately, that's a lot of points there. And that you can do that many ways. Some people are funny, some people are just being very charismatic, very charming. There is no boundaries, there is no good way to do it. But we want to see the team and the game. That's the important thing. And we want to see the game already as some part of the game, not just an idea that you describe, but we already want to see that something is happening, that you are actually able to make a game. And then also there is a part of the application where you just write, describe your team and describe the game, and then what's the goal at Stugan, what you want to achieve during the 2 months at Stugan. If you want to finish a prototype, or if you want to have a vertical slice, or if you want to have a finished game, doesn't really matter. And we're most likely not even going to check if you actually did what you said, but it's more for the teams to actually kind of think about what they can do during the 2 months. And it's very hard to actually know, because it's hard to imagine your life at Stugan, what it's going to be like. Usually the first week people don't do much work because they just arrive and they're getting to know other people, and many people are jet lagged, so it takes some time for them to get going. But then they can work a lot. One person actually told me that what he did at Stugan during the 2 months, he would have otherwise done during 1 year. So that's a big difference. But again, we don't want people to overwork, to burn themselves. We want them to really find a good balance there and do a lot of work on the game, but also like have some fun and enjoy the surroundings. I think that's actually it from me. Thank you very much.